This season of the Urban Conservative Podcast is brought to you by Newton for Senate, working to improve education, reduce taxes, and keep North Carolina #1 for business. Find out more at newtonforsenate.com.
This episode of the Urban Conservative has also been sponsored by Case Technology Consulting. Help your business get value out of its data and become more efficient and streamlined. Case Technology Consulting. Check out the link in the description.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what it is. It is time for Top of the Morning, the best morning show on the internet. Yours truly, Abdul Ali, one half of the Urban Conservative, rocking here with you on a Monday morning. If you haven't done so already, tuconservative.com is the website to support what we do and our mission to share conservative values and principles and the benefits of conservative policies to urban communities across this great, wonderful, and amazing nation of ours. Everything you need to know to follow along is on the bottom of your screen, ladies and gentlemen. So again, thank you for all the love and support. I got to give a massive shout out to our friends over at the Republican Hispanic National Assembly. Great event in Charlotte this weekend. Wonderful opportunity to go share with the Hispanic community. And we're actually going to be talking about that here on the Urban Conservative as we get closer to election 2024. Unless you've been living under a rock, you don't know what's going on. The left, and I can confidently say it is the left, because the voter registration proves that, and oddly, this guy that took this shot at Trump is registered to vote in 2 states, oddly enough. He's registered to vote in Hawaii. He's registered to vote in North Carolina, which is odd, to say the least. But unless you've been living under a rock, you don't know what's going on. A second attempt made at President Trump's life, this time down at Mar-a-Lago. Guy trying to, and from all reports that we're seeing, essentially what it is the guy was several hundred yards away from President Trump at Mar-a-Lago. There you see the front of Mar-a-Lago estate. There's some security officers talking in the front. What we do know is this guy is from North Carolina. Basically, the FBI said it appears to be another attempted assassination at Mar-a-Lago on Sunday. Just 9 weeks. It's only been 9 weeks. Don't let the lack of media coverage fool you, folks. And look, let me stop right there. I was in a meeting yesterday with the local Black political caucus here, and one of the candidates for county commission was like, the way she said it, and I'm glad a couple other people called her out. I think her name was Yvette Ingram Townsend, whatever her name is. Trump trying to say somebody, and it was just so inappropriate. Somebody gets shot, somebody gets, an attempt on somebody's life, and for her to say that, man, I hope Mecklenburg County's smart enough to not elect this woman. But story coming out of the AP is that the Secret Service stationed a few holes up from where he was playing noticed the muzzle of an AK-style rifle sticking through the shrubbery that lines the course about 400 yards away. An agent fired and the gunman dropped the rifle, fled in an SUV, leaving the firearm behind along with 2 backpacks, a scope used for aiming, a GoPro camera. This according to Palm Beach County Sheriff Rick Bradshaw. The man was later stopped by law enforcement in a neighboring community. Now, the interesting thing about this, at least from where I stand at, is that this is not, the violence that we're seeing in our country is not coming from the right. It's coming from the left, okay? Now, this guy, Ryan, what's his name? Ryan Ruth, and I think I can get a picture of him here. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find, yeah. I mean, guys, let's just be honest. This doesn't look like somebody who's doing the best, right? Like, look at this. This doesn't look like the picture of mental health here, of prime mental health. So this guy, apparently some of his social media accounts have already been taken down, but public records indicate that Ryan Roof lived in Hawaii, but voting records show the same man is a longtime voter in North Carolina. State voter records show him casting ballots in general and municipal elections going back 2008 and 2012. Though not in 2016 when Trump first ran. The same records show he most recently voted in the March primary election this year in Guilford County, North Carolina, as a registered Democrat. He registered in person, pulled a Democrat ballot. Authorities didn't release any information on the would-be gunman on Sunday night, but the man named Ryan Ruth had already left behind a swath of social media posts, media interviews that began forming a picture of an impulsive, in my opinion, not quite mentally well person who said he was willing to risk his life for his ideals and who made claims that sometimes tested credulity. Besides being a builder and entrepreneur, he told several major media outlets that he worked to recruit soldiers to foreign wars he believed in. On a phone number associated with him, the voicemail greeting as of Sunday identified the number's owner as Ryan in Hawaii, working with the National Volunteer Center, sending soldiers to Ukraine as well as Taiwan, urging callers to send him a message through WhatsApp, Viber, Telegram, or Facebook. Phone calls placed to him were not returned. A profile for Ryan Ruth on X dates to January 2020, where he posted a range of passionate opinions on issues including Black Lives Matter, Taiwanese sovereignty, and supporting Ukraine in the war with Russia. In 2022, he suggested in a series of posts that he traveled to Ukraine to fight on behalf of the beleaguered country. In one, he tweeted at President Vladimir Zelensky's account telling him, "I'm an American coming to fight with you in Ukraine. I'm flying to Krakow and will take any transport to Kyiv to meet you and fight to the death." So this doesn't sound, like I said, like the picture of mental health. This doesn't sound like someone, and quite frankly, when you listen to the rhetoric on the left, when you listen to what the news reporters are saying, consistently and constantly calling Donald Trump Hitler, constantly equating him to a fascist and a dictator, taking comments that he said out of context, this is the radicalization that you're going to get, quite frankly. And this is a prime example of someone who's been radicalized in large part by the radical left's media, the legacy media, and what they say. So, again, this is a very sad case of where we are in our country today. A New York Times story back in March of 2023 described this guy as a former construction worker from Greensboro. It said Ruth was recruiting Afghan soldiers who had fled the Taliban and encouraged them to fight in Ukraine. Even while urging others to take up arms in foreign foes, court records show he earned a living as a roofer and contractor, but often a lot of his business deals went sour. The North Carolina Judicial Branch, which includes Guilford County, where Ruth had many previous addresses, listed more than 200 court cases involving this guy, ranging from companies trying to recoup money allegedly owed to them and some tax delinquencies. In 2017 or 18, he moved to Honolulu. There, with the same name, launched a company called Camp Box Engineering, offering small, affordable, custom-built homes. It appears that some controversy followed him to the islands. Siley Levy runs a farm on the North Shore of Oahu, 11 miles from Camp Box. He told USA Today that he approached Ruth 2 years ago to build a structure he could transport around the island to sell his produce. He took a hefty deposit, but never completed it. So at the press conference in Palm Beach, County Sheriff Rick Bradshaw estimated Trump was about 300 to 500 yards away from the scene of this alleged assassination attempt when the Secret Service opened fire. The rifle found at the scene, which Bradshaw described as an AK-style assault rifle, but others have speculated is a similar model designed in Russia, was equipped with a multi-round magazine and long-range scope. With a rifle scope like that, that's not a long-distance thing, he said. So this is going to be interesting in the least, because what we're looking at is apparently the left is terrified. People on the left are terrified that Trump is going to win this election. And we're going to talk after this commercial break a little bit about these polling and what we're seeing out there. Actually, one of the most accurate pollsters has come out, and what they're showing is that Kamala is losing. So we'll be right back after this quick, very, very quick commercial break here on Top of the Morning on the Urban Conservative. Y'all don't go nowhere. Conservative is brought to you by the Queen City Insurance Group. If you need help with Medicare or life insurance, call Kimberly Marshall at 704-559-9279. The Queen City Insurance Group, treating you like royalty.
doesn't mean you have to vote Democrat. This year, in order to see benefits for our communities, we need to vote outside the box. Find out more by visiting us at tuconservative.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're back rocking with the Dual Ali here on top of the morning, the best morning show here on the internet. I hope everything's good for you this Monday morning. I hope you got some coffee and your day is buzzing along quite nicely. I want to jump into this next thing. You know, we're going to talk a little bit about this 2024 election, and this polling is not looking good for Kamala Harris. And I want to give a big massive shout out to On Point Politics here. This is a very good channel. I like, and look, here's the thing. These are folks that are way nerdier than I am when it comes to the numbers. I've watched a lot of his content, and I think he does a good job of staying unbiased, staying in the middle, and just looking at the numbers. This is very interesting. Trump's odds as of right now are 74%. To 26% for Harris odds of winning the election. They ran 1,000 simulations for the 2024 elections, and this is what they found. Trump has a 74% chance of winning. Now, the reason I think that this is the case is because, folks, this lady is a train wreck. I want to point this out to you. I'm going to cut this music off real quick. I want to point this out to you guys here. It's people were talking about the debate. Everybody, you know, all the content creators, YouTubers, and people like us with podcasts were talking about the debate. I thought Trump did exactly what he needed to do. I didn't think he did anything different. I think he could have called her out some more on her positions, but it was a 3-verse-1. I think he got in his bag a little bit, but I think he did exactly what he needed to do, especially with his closing statement. But this is her first interview after the debate. And I want to point out something real quick about this interview. We're not going to go through the whole thing because it's too long. It's 11 minutes. But listen to this. This is a very specific question she gets asked, and look how she responds.
Thanks for your time today. Our audience appreciates your time as well.
Of course.
As you know, we're sitting here in a state and arguably in front of an audience that 54 days from now could decide the outcome of this presidential election. Yeah. You hear it more than I do. People want to know more about you and about your specific plans. At the debate the other night, you talked about creating an opportunity economy. I wonder if we can drill down on that a little bit. When we talk about bringing down prices and making life more affordable for people, what are one or two specific things you have in mind for that?
Now, I want to stop here because he used a very interesting word. The word is specific. Okay. He said, what are one or two things specific, not 5. Don't give me the whole plan. 1 or 2 specific things you can do. And listen to this response.
Well, I'll start with this. I grew up a middle-class kid.
How many times are we going to have to hear that you grew up as a middle-class kid, which, by the way, you didn't. Okay. You didn't, okay? You didn't grow up as a middle-class kid. Your parents were in academia. You did better than most. Let's just call it that way, right? You did better than most. And I think that this is a symptom of a problem that we, the American people, have to deal with. Is these politicians think we're so dumb, okay? They think we're so dumb that you can say whatever you want. They think they can just say whatever they want. They can say it with a straight face. They can say it repeatedly, and the American people are just going to fall for it. Hook, line, and sinker, okay? They think that they can just say this stuff straight face, straight lace, no questions asked, and that nobody is going to take the time out of their day to fact check it. And unfortunately, more often than not, what we're finding out is people are not taking the time to fact check this stuff. But just, I cannot stress enough, all right, how much this lady is not a single parent household, okay? She not a single parent household, but in a low class, middle class family. All right. It's angering. Let's keep going.
My mother raised my sister and me. She worked very hard. She was able to finally save up enough money to buy our first house when I was a teenager. I grew up in a community of hardworking people, construction workers and nurses and teachers. And I try to explain to some people who may not have had the same experience, but a lot of people will relate to this. I grew up in a neighborhood of folks who were very proud of their lawn, and I was raised to believe and to know that all people deserve dignity, and that we as Americans.
I'm waiting for these specific things. Let me know. Jump in the comments. Have you heard a specific thing yet?
Americans have a beautiful character. We
What the heck? Yo.
We have ambitions and aspirations and dreams, but not everyone necessarily has access to the resources that can help them fuel those dreams.
All right, listen, guys. The mouse is on the wheel, but he ain't running.
And ambitions. So when I talk about building an opportunity economy, it is very much with the mind of investing in the ambitions and aspirations and the incredible work ethic of the American people, and creating opportunity for people, for example, to start a small business. My mother, worked long hours, and our neighbor.
What does any of that have to do with something specific? I don't understand. And this is why she's having such a problem in the polls. This is why Trump has about a 76% chance of winning this election. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, because you're talking about someone who is feeding the American people word salad with BS dressing on it. Okay? That's exactly what it is. It's a word salad with bacon bits of poo sprinkled all over it, and BS dressing is what you got. Absolutely ridiculous. Now, he asked the lady a simple question. Give me something specific you're going to do to help the American people and create a better economy. I know something Trump has already said that's very specific. No tax on overtime. That's innovative. That'll drive people to want to produce. That'll drive people to want to work more. And this is what we get. Now, on the other side of this, right, I'm going to point out 25 things. So she said she grew up as a middle-class kid. That was a lie. She also stated this statement is inaccurate. Journalist Megyn Kelly pointed out Harris's father worked as a professor at Stanford University, Marxist, by the way. Her mother was a biomedical scientist at UC Berkeley, which does not fit the narrative of a typical middle-class upbringing at all. Second lie, Trump's tax cuts. Harris wrongly implied that the 2017 tax reforms under Trump's administration disproportionately favored billionaires and corporations in the U.S. This is actually false. According to IRS data, on average, all income brackets benefited substantially from the Republicans' tax reform law, with the biggest beneficiaries being working and middle income filers, not the top 1%, as Justin Haskins pointed out in The Hill, not quite a right-wing bastion. She also said that Trump's sales tax, right? She asserted that Trump had plans to implement a sales tax. However, Trump has made no such commitment and has not indicated that he would introduce a sales tax if reelected as president. She also lied about January 6th. She characterized the January 6, 2021 incident at the Capitol as the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. This claim does not hold up when compared to events like World War I, the Japanese assault on Pearl Harbor, World War II, all of which posed much greater threats to the American democracy. She lied about Project 2025 and asserted that Trump would enforce Project 2025 if elected, but he's consistently stated that he's not connected to it and has no involvement in its and wants no involvement in its implementation. So another lie. When they asked her about her stance on abortion restrictions, she evaded that and instead expressed her support for reinstating Roe v. Wade. Yet, shortly before that, she promised to sign legislation like the Women's Health Protection Act, which would effectively allow abortion throughout all 9 months of pregnancy. She also co-sponsored the original bill and voted against protections for babies born alive after failed abortion. Okay, we could go on and on and on about the lies of Kamala Harris, but folks, this is why you are seeing her losing in the polls. This is why you're seeing numbers that look like this. Okay, this is why you're looking across the board and you're seeing Americans are not with it. You know she's got a problem when when Trump has got massive support from the Muslim community in Michigan. You know something is wrong. You know you've got a terrible candidate. She's below where Clinton is. She's below. This is the lowest performing Democrat candidate against Trump ever. And I don't think Democrats are stupid enough. I think there's enough Democrats in the country that are going to go, wait a minute, this is not a good idea. But there you have it. I'm gonna let On Point talk a little bit. Let's rock with them for a second.
Welcome back to another video with On Point Politics, your number one stop for all things polling and election analysis in the United States. And today we're going to be looking at the simulations model that I have for the 2024 presidential election. Make sure to hit the like button and to subscribe if you want more content just like this. And so, according to my model, Donald Trump is winning 327 electoral college votes to Harris's 211 electoral college votes. This is me going through my own polling averages, reweighing all of the polling data to an R+1 electorate, the same electorate that Atlas Intel is predicting. And not only that, with Atlas Intel's help and my polling average, including liberal leaning pollsters, I would have been able to predict a Biden plus 5.1 spread in the national popular vote, which would have been 0.6 percentage points off from the final popular vote of Biden plus 4.5 back in 2020. And what we're going to be looking at is the simulations model.
Hold on. I don't want to skip past that. So these are numbers using some of the most accurate polling there is. He would have been able to predict the 2020 election within 0.3 percentage points. This is not a joke. Okay, this is not somebody I know. When you go to the channel, and hopefully y'all will go to On Point Politics and give them a subscribe, tell them the Urban Conservative sent you. But this is what we need, folks. This is the reality of what's happening. And the mainstream media is going to continuously tell you that this is a close race. It's tight. It's not even close. That doesn't mean we get to take our feet off the gas, ladies and gentlemen. That is not what we need to do. We need to make sure we make it too big to rig. We need to make sure we're showing up, casting our votes. Democrat turnout and enthusiasm is down. Early voting, absentee requests are down. And I think the American people have had enough. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, take one more quick commercial break. I want to point out we got to talk about what's happening in Chicago. This is absolutely disgusting for the residents of Chicago. Y'all don't go anywhere. We're right here live on the Urban Conservative. We're top of the morning. We'll be right back. Country illegally cast a ballot. It takes the power of your vote away. Visit onlycitizens.vote to find out how you can contact your legislature and get them to pass a citizens-only voting amendment. Again, visit onlycitizens.vote and defend your right to vote. Conservative is brought to you by the Queen City Insurance Group. If you need help with Medicare or life insurance, call Kimberly Marshall at 704-559-9279. The Queen City Insurance Group, treating you like royalty. And I'm running for U.S. House District 12 here in Charlotte as a Republican this November. We know that the Democrat machine controls Charlotte, but a common sense Republican like me can win if we can get our message out to the voters. If you're like me and fed up with deep state career politicians like Alma Adams and Joe Biden, help me send a message that their time is up. I've done something by running for Congress. Now I need you to do something. Visit aliforcongress.com. Make a contribution. Together, we can make America better. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're back. We're rocking here on top of the morning, the best morning show on the internet, helping you get your week, your day started off the right way. Man, Chicago. We could talk about the violence in Chicago each and every day on this show. We could literally go live every day with the story of more violence coming out of Chicago, but that's not what we're talking about this morning. What we're talking about this morning is the fact that Chicago residents, right, now have to deal with an almost $1 billion budget shortfall. Before we talk about that budget shortfall, I want y'all to listen. These are Black voters in Chicago. Listen to what this lady has to say.
All I can say to you is that you are a disgrace. I'm an 80-year-old woman, and I've never seen anything like this. I grew up in the Jim Crow South, and the policies that you're passing in this city remind me of the Jim Crow South. I had to drink out of a colored water fountain, or the whites would drink out of a white water fountain. But you know what I didn't have to worry about? Going back to my community and it would be destroyed. And everybody else is in my community but Black people. And this is what you've done with this immigration. You have allowed all these people, you brought all these people into this city. You are destroying this city.
Ladies and gentlemen, come on.
And the Black community is flooded with all of these immigrants, violent ones, prostitution, gangs. You did that. You are doing this to your people. You are an absolute disgrace to me. Like I said, I drank out of that colored water fountain, but I could go back to that Black community that was intact. Women are crying. Taxes are going up. What am I going to do with my children? Where are we going to go and live? This is because of you, Brandon Johnson. You're destroying the South Side of Chicago with your policy, all under the Democratic Party.
Come on, folks. Come on. This is what we're talking about when we say Black folks have had enough. The irony of this is across the country, this is what's happening. People are starting to snap out of it and wake up and call out the foolishness. Now we're going to go back to this story because you got about $1 billion shortfall. Y'all listen to this.
The city of Chicago is facing a nearly $1 billion budget deficit for fiscal year 2025. And the mayor says everything is on the table to fill that hole, like raising property taxes, a hiring freeze, and cuts to city services.
Is he going to take a pay cut? Is he going to not take a salary? I'm just curious.
Ninth Ward Alderman Anthony Beal joins me now. Alderman, thanks for tuning in this morning, checking
What is it? I'm going to shut up.
in with us.
Well, thanks for having me. Good morning.
Good morning to you. How did we get to this point?
Well, we knew that this cliff was coming years ago. We knew we had a pension deficit that was coming. And we knew that, coming out of the pandemic, things were still slow. Coming out of the pandemic, downtown is still recovering. And so we've been looking at all these different things going on that really caused this hole, but we didn't do anything to prepare for it.
Nah, y'all see, you wanna blame the pandemic. You wanna blame years ago. How much money is it costing the city of Chicago to take care of illegals in the city? How much is that costing? Y'all move the money out of the budget for the drug funds, the drug money out of the budget, and y'all put that towards this bill for these illegals. Nah, bruh, that ain't it.
We spent all the COVID money creating programs and creating additional jobs. And now that COVID money is running out, that's adding, more deficit to our revenue on a day-to-day basis. So we didn't do anything last year to raise property tax fees or fines or anything, and we just kind of punted last year, and that also added to this hole. And so it was a compound.
I wonder how much a Chicago alderman gets paid. I'm going to Google that. Chicago alderman salary. Let's see what that comes out to. Let's see what that is. A Chicago city alderman, Daniel LaSpada, makes 130. Hold on. I can't even with this. Look at this. I can't even. 15 aldermanic salary ranks according to public salary data from the city. Not everyone on the council earns the same because they can accept or decline raises over the years, blah, 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 blah. This year's inflation hike will bring the top pay for 30 alder people to $142,000. 17 out of 50 alder people have decided to forego the raise. Look at this. La Spada, 2023, 132.48, 130, 129, 127. Who's this guy that's on the video here we got here? What's his name? Whatever his name is here. What is this guy's name? Hold on, let me go back. I want to find his name on here. Anthony Beale. That's who this is. Let's look at Anthony Beale. How much is Anthony Beale getting? He gets $142,000. Okay? $142,000 that the city alderman is getting, that this elected official who's supposed to be serving the people. Meanwhile, they have a budget shortfall of $1 billion. I wonder if any of these alder people, if the mayor, are going to forfeit their salary to the benefit of the people of Chicago, because that's what they need to do. Each and every one of them should forfeit their salary because they're looking at a $1 billion shortfall, ladies and gentlemen. And you got this guy up here giving super excuses. It's the COVID money. We ran out of the COVID money. We ran out of the COVID money.
Last year to raise property tax fees or fines or anything, and we just kind of punted last year, and that also added to this hole. And so it was a compound of really bad judgments that really got us here.
In other words, Chicago, you need to vote them all out.
It sounds like you're almost blaming yourself for this. Was it you? Was it the mayor's office? Who's to blame?
Well, it wasn't me because I voted against every budget the last 5 years. And so it
We'll give you credit for that, but you're on the council.
was definitely the guidance of the administration that really pushes the agenda as far as our budgets are concerned. And so when you look at our budgets, it's the mayor's responsibilities to present us with budgets. And, I've been fighting tooth and nail about all these bad decisions that have been made. And it's just right now, it's not enough of us in the city council to, really right the wrongs that are going on.
Hold on a second, bro. I got to do this. If I'm looking at this correctly, there's 50 of y'all. Okay. The average of y'all is getting, let's say, $120,000 a year. All right. Let me just do a quick calculation here. Let me just do a very quick calculation. So if y'all are each getting at a minimum $120,000, right? And there's 50 of you all, that's $6 million. Okay? That's $6 million that could go back into the city budget. Why don't y'all give up that $6 million? Why don't you take a salary cut? Trump did the presidency for no salary, and that's $500,000 almost that the president makes. Excuses, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're talking about right now, is the fact that the residents, the citizens of Chicago, the taxpayers of Chicago and of our country are paying for illegal immigrants. This is why you need to support conservative Republican candidates, ladies and gentlemen. You need to make sure you make this too big to rig. Get out there, vote for President Trump, vote for your Republican congressional reps, vote differently, vote outside the box, vote differently than you normally do if you want to have a positive impact on your city, your state, and this country, ladies and gentlemen. $1 billion shortfall in Chicago. Absolutely ridiculous. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been rocking here on Top of the Morning, the best morning show on the internet. Let us know what you think. Second assassination attempt on Trump. Is that the media's fault? Why is Kamala Harris doing so bad? And what do you think about this $1 billion shortfall facing the city of Chicago? Again, thank you for rocking with us each and every Monday through Friday for Top of the Morning here on the Urban Conservative. We will see you guys live and direct. Make sure you give us a like, share, follow, subscribe so you know when we go live here on the Urban Conservative. Peace and love, y'all.